Good morning, my name is Matthew Hugo from Weather Commerce, and this is this morning's weather brief on Friday the 8th of July. Today's weather brief will cover a summary on West European 5-day average temperatures, the UK, Europe, Scandinavian precipitation, and finally global weather alerts. We will start by taking a summarised look at the mean surface temperatures across Europe. And between days 11 and 15, a trend from previous days continues today, and this is for many areas of Europe to have temperatures either near or trending slightly below climate averages, particularly across central and eastern areas of Europe, including Switzerland, Germany and Austria, for example, where temperatures may be at least 3 or potentially 4 degrees below climate norms. Between days 6 and 10, a similar temperature trend is forecast, given that there is model agreement and consistency between the various forecast models, with temperatures to be either near or once again trending slightly below climate averages by perhaps 2 or 3 degrees, as particularly cool and unsettled conditions dominate across the majority of Europe, but particularly central and northern areas in particular. And finally, between days 2 and 5, confidence levels are high, given model agreement and consistency, for temperatures to be very close to climate averages across the majority of Europe, though perhaps trending just slightly below climate norms across the United Kingdom and perhaps France and also Benelux. And now taking a look at the United Kingdom in some closer detail. Between days 11 and 15, as we move beyond the weekend of the 16th and 17th of July, confidence levels are medium or perhaps even medium to high, given that there is model agreement and consistency from previous days with regards to the majority of the available forecast models signalling temperatures to be at least 1 to 3 degrees below climate averages, as predominantly cool and settled conditions dominate across the United Kingdom. Between days 2 and 10, there is very little change from previous days, and as you can see within the highlighted red circle, the majority, if not all, of the available forecast models have temperatures very close to climate averages, if not trending again 1 to 3 degrees below a climate mean of around 16 or 17 degrees Celsius. This is in association with a continued cool and generally unsettled weather pattern across the United Kingdom, which is expected to persist over the next 7 to 14 days. The following weather chart for Thursday the 14th of July helps to illustrate why temperatures are forecast to be generally trending slightly below climate averages across the UK, and this is in association with low pressure dominant to the west or northwest of the UK and winds from the west or southwest producing cool and unsettled conditions across many areas. And finally, taking a look at the latest UK 32-day ECMWF ensemble model comparison graph. And as you can see, the ECMWF model comparison graph is highlighted by the solid red lines. Over the next 2 weeks, temperatures are forecast to remain slightly below climate averages. As we move towards the end of July and into early August, there is a trend for temperatures to slightly recover. However, at the present time, there is a model agreement and consistency for temperatures to generally trend and remain slightly below climate averages across the UK and many western areas of Europe into early August. And now taking a look at the expected European temperatures in some closer detail. And between days 11 and 15, there has generally been no significant changes from previous days. Model guidance and consistency is evident, and that is for temperatures to be generally near or trending slightly below climate averages, as predominantly cool and unsettled conditions dominate across many areas of Europe. Many central and eastern areas of Europe in particular, particularly across Switzerland, Germany, Austria and perhaps even down into Italy for example, may have temperatures at least 2 to 4 degrees below climate norms. Using the latest Austrian model comparison graph as an example of some central and eastern areas of Europe, you can see that once again in relation to the 11 to 15 day time period, within the highlighted red circle, the majority, if not all, of the available forecast models have temperatures at least 1 to 3 degrees below climate averages. Some model divergence exists with regards to just how below climate averages temperatures are forecast to become. However, given that there is model consistency from previous days and throughout the majority of this week, I believe confidence levels are medium to high to suggest that many central and eastern areas of Europe between days 11 and 15 are forecast to have temperatures at least 1 to 3 degrees below climate norms. Now taking a look at days 6 to 10, and compared with the previous days, there has been no significant changes or unexpected developments, and that is for temperatures to remain either near or again trending just slightly below climate averages by perhaps 1 to 3 degrees across the majority of Europe. There remains little or no significant risk of temperatures either being extremely above or below climate norms within this forecast period. The latest Germany model comparison graph helps to illustrate this situation, and as you can see within the highlighted red circle, covering generally between days 5 and 10, as we move beyond the weekend in the 9th and 10th of July, the majority, if not all, of the available forecast models have temperatures either near or trending 1 to 3 degrees below climate averages. This has been a persistent signal for numerous days now, and confidence levels are medium to high to suggest that once again the majority of Europe is forecast to have temperatures either near or trending just slightly below climate averages by a few degrees between days 6 and 10. And finally, between days 2 and 5, the majority of the available forecast models continue to signal temperatures to be very close to climate averages, but perhaps just trending slightly below across some northwestern areas of Europe. No significant changes have been evident between days 2 and 5 for the last few days at least, and as a result confidence levels are high to suggest that temperatures are likely to be very close to climate norms across the majority of Europe between days 2 and 5. We're now taking a look at the expected precipitation totals across Scandinavia. And over the next 7 to 10 days there has been generally no significant changes from the last few days, and that is for the majority of Norway to have precipitation totals trending above climate averages. Precipitation totals in excess of 100 to 125 millimetres are possible, yet with the majority of Sweden and also Finland having precipitation totals generally near to climate norms. Within the longer term, a developing signal is now evident, and that is for the majority of Norway and also the majority of Sweden to have precipitation totals still trending above climate averages, with perhaps as much as 80 to 100 millimetres of rainfall possible. In contrast, many areas of Finland are likely to have precipitation totals near to climate norms. And now taking a look at global weather alerts, which highlight significant deviations from normal. And many eastern and southeastern areas of Australia, over the next 7 to 10 days in particular, are forecast to have temperatures at least 4 to 6 degrees below climate averages. Mean surface temperatures, generally ranging between 0 and 5 degrees Celsius, are expected, as particularly cold south or southeasterly winds dominate across many areas. The signal from the last few days continues today, and that is for many central and northern regions of China over the next 7 to 14 days to have temperatures well above climate averages, with mean surface temperatures at least 30 to 35 degrees Celsius, which is comfortably 6 to 8 degrees above climate averages. And finally, there is an ongoing signal to suggest that many southern areas of Brazil over the next 14 days, and particularly towards and beyond mid-July, to have precipitation totals above or potentially well above climate averages, as very unsettled conditions dominate the weather here. Precipitation totals in excess of 80 to 100 millimetres are potentially possible, particularly in and around the Rio Grande do Sul. Thank you for listening to today's weather brief. Goodbye.